In the early hours of December 24, 2025, Ukraine launched a significant drone assault targeting Moscow and surrounding areas, marking one of the latest escalations in the ongoing Russo-Ukrainian war. Russian authorities reported intercepting multiple drones aimed at the capital, with some debris causing fires in industrial sites south of the city. While no major damage to central Moscow was confirmed, the attack underscored Ukraine's growing capability to strike deep into Russian territory amid stalled peace negotiations and intensifying mutual bombardments. This incident, part of a broader exchange of long-range strikes, has raised alarms about the war's potential to spill further into Russian heartland, even as diplomatic efforts continue in the background. The war, now approaching its fourth year since Russia's full-scale invasion in February 2022, has seen a shift toward asymmetric warfare, with both sides relying heavily on drones for deep strikes. Ukraine has increasingly targeted Russian energy infrastructure, military assets, and logistics to disrupt Moscow's war economy, while Russia responds with massive barrages on Ukrainian cities and power grids. The December 24 drone wave fits this pattern, coming just days after Ukraine hit oil facilities and Russian officials reported the assassination of a senior general in Moscow. Actions Kyiv rarely claims directly, but which align with its strategy of bringing the war home to Russia. Details of the strike. Russian Defense Ministry statements claimed that air defenses downed 195 Ukrainian drones overnight into December 24, including 5 over the Moscow region, with 2 specifically flying toward the capital. Moscow Mayor Sergei Sobyanin reported that at least 3 drones targeting the city were intercepted and emergency services were dispatched to sites where debris fell. No casualties or significant damage in Moscow proper were reported, but debris from a downed drone sparked a fire at an industrial facility in the Tula region, south of Moscow. This attack disrupted operations at 2 of Moscow's 4 major airports temporarily, highlighting the psychological and logistical impact on Russia's capital. Separate reports indicated fires in industrial zones, potentially linked to strikes on facilities supporting Russia's military production. Ukrainian officials have not officially claimed responsibility for the Moscow-specific drones, consistent with their policy on deep strikes inside Russia, but sources in Kyiv's security services have acknowledged similar operations in the past as part of efforts to degrade Russia's war machine. The timing is notable. The strike followed a series of Ukrainian successes against Russian energy targets, including an oil terminal, pipeline, parked fighter jets, and ships earlier in the week. It also coincided with Russian claims of downing Ukrainian drones over other regions, part of a nightly tit-for-tat that has become routine. Broader context: escalating drone warfare. Ukraine's long-range drone capabilities have evolved dramatically since 2022. Domestic production of unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs, allows Kyiv to conduct frequent, low-cost strikes hundreds of kilometers into Russia, targeting oil refineries, ammunition depots, and power stations. In November 2025 alone, Ukraine reportedly hit a record number of Russian oil facilities, aiming to curtail revenues funding Moscow's invasion, while Russia responds with massive barrages on Ukrainian cities and power grids. The December 24 drone wave fits this pattern, coming just days after Ukraine hit oil facilities and Russian officials reported the assassination of a senior general in Moscow, actions Kyiv rarely claims directly, but which align with its strategy of bringing the war home to Russia. Assassinations and sabotage in Moscow. Compounding the shock of drone strikes, Moscow has seen a wave of apparent Ukrainian-linked sabotage. On December 22, a car bomb killed Lieutenant General Fanil Sarvarov, a senior Russian military official, in the capital, the second such assassination in days. Russian investigators blame Ukraine, though Kyiv has not commented. Earlier incidents include bombings and drone crashes near sensitive sites. These operations, if attributable to Ukraine's intelligence services, represent a bold strategy to target high-value individuals and sow insecurity in Russia's leadership circles. Pro-Ukrainian partisans and special forces have claimed similar actions, further eroding the Kremlin's narrative of invulnerability at home. Diplomatic backdrop: fragile peace talks. The strikes come amid U.S.-led efforts to broker peace. Zelensky announced on December 24 that Ukraine and the U.S. had aligned on a 20-point draft plan, including NATO-like security guarantees and economic aid, but territorial issues in Donetsk remain unresolved. Russia rejected a proposed Christmas ceasefire, with Putin reaffirming demands for Ukrainian withdrawal from claimed territories. U.S. envoys have shuttled between Kyiv, European allies, and Moscow, but progress is slow. Zelensky expressed optimism about finalizing documents, expecting a Russian response soon, while noting Russia's intensified ties with entities providing intelligence support, implicitly criticizing China. Analysts view Ukraine's strikes as leverage in negotiations, demonstrating that Russia cannot achieve victory without domestic costs. Putin, however, portrays Russia as negotiating from strength, downplaying attacks while vowing to achieve all objectives. Implications and what happens next. This latest strike on Moscow, though largely thwarted, sends a clear message. Ukraine can reach the Russian capital repeatedly, disrupting normal life and exposing air defense limits. For Russians long insulated from the war's direct impacts, such incidents challenge Putin's image of control. Militarily, Ukraine's drone campaign strains Russian resources, forcing defenses to spread thin. Economically, hits on energy infrastructure could reduce oil revenues critical to Moscow's budget. On the ground, Russia continues incremental gains in Donetsk, but at unsustainable casualty rates. Western estimates put 2025 losses at over 380,000 killed or wounded. Ukraine, bolstered by Western aid, holds defensive lines while preparing potential counteroffensives. Diplomatically, the window for a deal narrows as winter hardens positions. If talks collapse, expect escalated strikes, more Ukrainian deep penetrations, and Russian bombardments on Ukrainian cities. International reactions have been muted, with calls for restraint but no major shifts in support. The U.S., under ongoing transition influences, pushes for compromise, warning both sides of attrition's toll. Ultimately, this shocking strike, part of a pattern rather than a singular event, highlights the war's entrenched nature. As 2025 ends, neither side shows willingness to concede core demands, risking a prolonged conflict into 2026. For civilians on both sides, the cost continues to mount, with drones overshadowing holidays and hopes for peace.